Have you ever had an ad pop up for an EV? I know I have. EV manufacturers say that these vehicles have more performance than an ICEV or internal combustion engine vehicle. Um, but performance isn't everything. Today I'm going to walk you through the benefits and downsides of EVs, their cousins, the ICEVs, and the environmental impact of these two types. This matters to me for two reasons. One, because I'm going into the train industry, and two, because I have a strong passion for cars. This should matter to you because if you love cars like I do, they're taking our gas guzzling muscle cars away. EVs are both good for the environment, but also very bad for the environment. According to biofriendlyplanet.com, some of the positives to an EV are an EV doesn't produce any air pollution causing tailpipe emissions. An EV is not a source of noise pollution because it's much quieter. Engine oil is not used in an EV, lowering environmental impact. Due to their due to their unique design, EV brake pads do not crumble, corrode, or fail prematurely, which removes costly maintenance. When possible, EV manufacturers typically aim to use materials that are more friendly to the environment. When run on renewable resources, EV chargers are less harmful to the environment because and its resources than typical gas stations. Unlike gas stations, which have to transport their transport fuel, there is no need to transport the fuel to these chargers. There's also negatives to EVs, like battery production that can negatively impact the environment, resulting in a loss of biodiversity, more air pollution, and decreased freshwater supply. EV batteries consist of materials like nickel, lithium, cobalt, and other energy-intensive materials to mine. These materials are also often mined in regions with low environmental restrictions. These, according to the Time magazine, Argentina accounts for 21% of all the world's lithium reserves, and plans are already in place for 13 more mines to be opened, totaling in 15 active mines. Back to biofriendlyplanet.com, they say that EV chargers generally rely on electricity from power plants which still use fossil fuels. This could cause problems in states like California, where the energy grid is already being pushed to its limits during the hot summer months, so residents could see more frequent blackouts than usual. EV battery recycling methods are still in the early stages. As of right now, they are not fully designed to be recycled. EV tires wear out faster due to heavier weight and increased torque of the vehicle. The expected lifespan of an EV tire set is only between 30,000 and 40,000 miles. There are advantages to EVs such as low emissions and lower maintenance costs. but there are disadvantages like their small distances before having to recharge again. According to Intellipat.com, EVs are more eco-friendly because they run on electricity, not fossil fuels, which stops dangerous gases from being released into the air. They're also much quieter than gasoline power because the pistons and other moving parts that make up a gas engine are no longer there, which also cuts the maintenance costs for these cars and engines by 50%. According to EVelectron.com, electric car owners will normally pay about $4,600 on repairs compared to gas power, which are having to pay around $9,200 on repairs for the life of the vehicle. According to Intellibot.com, EVs also have governmental support. Governments all across the globe have allowed tax breaks for and are pushing people to drive EVs as part of the Green Project, but there are disadvantages to them as well. EVs are still very expensive. Many people who buy EVs tend to think that ICEVs are not as expensive. There are also charging station limitations. People who have to drive long distances in an ICEV are less concerned about finding a gas station than an EV finding a charging station. The charge time is quite long, unlike gasoline, which takes a few minutes to fill up a gas tank, can take hours to charge. When this source was written, there was only a limited amount of EVs available to the public compared to gas-powered cars. There are disadvantages and advantages to ICEVs. According to LinkedIn.com, some of the advantages to these, or one of the advantages of an ICEV is that these cars have a higher power to weight ratio. Excuse me. These cars also are very flexible and can burn different fuels like gasoline, diesel, jet fuel for some reason, or kerosene. These cars, that alone makes them makes it easy to use them for any kind of job. These cars have enough power and torque to do whatever you ask of them, unlike EV engines, which don't have the power and torque to do anything, therefore cannot do that easily. Newer engines are made to have a higher level of efficiency, with some engines reaching over 50% thermal efficiency. These engines are quite cheap to make and easy to keep in a good shape, with easily accessible fuels. They are also very sturdy and can take on tough terrain. They're also meant to take a beating, which is where the saying, "they don't make them like they used to," comes from. A little history. Back in 1900s, cars were made of pure iron and titanium, so if a new driver to the wheel were to accidentally hit something, there wouldn't even be a scratch on the car. With an engine, you want it to be tough, because if it isn't, it may fall apart or explode. Simple as that. These cars have a lot of these cars also put out a lot of CO2 or carbon dioxide, or NO2, nitrogen oxide. They also make a lot of noise, which is part of the reason for noise pollution, and can sometimes be unbearable for the driver as well as the passengers. ICEVs also depend heavily on fossil fuels, and fossil fuels are a non-renewable source that is starting to become harder to find and very expensive. Given this information I presented, that is why I think gas is better than electric. Yes, there are benefits and downsides to both electric-powered vehicles and gas-powered vehicles. Each car has its impact on the environment. Some thoughts to keep in mind about these are flexibility, environmental impact, and power. Keep these in mind next time you visit a dealership, because you might think you're doing the world a favor, but you might not. And that goes for anything. With this information, you can come to your own conclusion as to which vehicle type you think is best for you. Thanks for listening, and that's all I have.